Sweet Christmas.
Shout out to my birds.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Che.
And this is Cory.
And this is the Next Time On podcast, a podcast where two lifelong friends discuss all things amazing and all things fetid in popular culture. It would be like if instead of forming possibly the greatest rivalry in sports history and saving the NBA from its inevitable demise, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson decided to start a cult classic podcast about billionaires dressed as bat costumes. Is that fair, Cory?
I mean, I honestly would genuinely listen to a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird talk about the Batman. I don't know what the conversation would be. It probably wouldn't be interesting, but I would watch it. I would listen to it
Before
anyway.
Magic Johnson joined Twitter, I would 100% agree with you. Have you ever looked at the legendary Magic Johnson Twitter?
Just like how the fact that he just like restates things.
He
like
just tweets facts. Like he'll be
it's
like,
just
"Great,
not opinions.
great game by Kyrie." You're like, "Thanks, man."
That's cool. Like, appreciate
For
it.
a man who, especially, so anybody who has been not paying attention, that was sort of a reference to the new HBO show Winning Time, which we're not going to be talking about today. We swapped it out for DMZ, but we will be coming back to that later. I'm really loving it. So if you should go check that out. But based on how like energetic and fun he is in that show, like the characterization of him, and I genuinely believe Magic Johnson lived a wild life. For a lot of reasons, there's evidence that he lived a wild life that we don't need to get in on this podcast. He seems so fucking boring now. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, just maybe just like money and boredom. I don't know.
I guess when you get rich and you become a dad.
What's the point of having a personality if you're rich? You don't need to have a personality. You don't need to impress anybody. You just gotta. Just have to exist.
I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's a good thing we haven't blown up like Joe Rogan. Maybe we would be really fucking boring with all that money. We'd be talking about ivermectin and whatever else Joe Rogan talks about on his podcast. I've never listened.
I think he just gets celebrities on and then he smokes pot. And everyone's like, haha, he's one of us. And then like, no.
One of what? Who's he one of?
The white people, the white men who listen to his podcast, Che. Not one of us. You know what I meant.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get down a rabbit hole,
Che's annoying me already.
Canceled, me?
Uh-huh.
I'm not. How am I annoying you?
Whatever.
Don't forget to go rate us 5 stars. Really helps us out. Helps people find the podcast. And we've got some big stuff coming in the next couple of weeks. We've got our alternative Oscar awards next weekend. And we've got a little thing planned. Like I said before, first YouTube exclusive. We're going to be doing something special for the Batman. So be on the lookout for that. But of course, the only way more people can see that shit is if you go rate us 5 stars, tell all your friends, all that good stuff. And don't forget to follow us at Next Time On Pod on our social media platforms, nexttimeon.net, where all of our archived writing, all of our past and future podcasts are going to be, all that good stuff. And our YouTube channel, which is linked in the description below if you're watching this, or if you're on the YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out, like I said. And last but not least, we have, last episode, if you didn't check it out, go listen to it. Good episode. We talked about the N.K. Jemisin book from last year, Far Sector. Our book club for next month is Moon Knight, the 2016, is that when we decided to start it?
Yes, I think so.
It's one of those years. That Moon Knight, we're celebrating the premiere of the Oscar Isaac show, which I'm very excited for. And not for any real reason at all. It doesn't relate to anything. Although I guess he's in some show now. Sean William Scott. I can't remember what show it is. But we are going to be doing Bulletproof Monk for our Curse of the Rewatch, which...
I'm disappointed in you for this one. I know we watch a lot of bad shit, but I don't know why this is the one I'm like least looking forward to watching.
I think it's going to be a ton of fun to pod about. I think it's going to be really bad to watch.
Like Four Brothers was rough.
Oh, you know what? Sean William Scott is in the This Country American remake, which I haven't watched because I won't be doing that shit anymore. This Country is an incredible British sitcom by Daisy May Cooper. It's fantastic. Go watch it if you can. They just remade it in America like they do with all good British sitcoms. It's called Welcome to Flatch, and Sean William Scott's in it. That's what I remembered his name from.
Cool.
Why are Americans so unoriginal? Except for us. All other Americans besides the two on this podcast right now.
The two nerds who talk about movies. I mean, no one else on the internet does that at all.
Don't do this to me, Cory. I was trying to gas both of us up, and then you fucking stepped on my face for some reason.
Feel cynical.
All right, should we do the elevator pitch?
Sure, let's do it.
Let me bring up the timer for you because I'm making you go first because
That's fair.
I have the controls of the screen, so really you have no say in the matter. All right, Corey, 1 minute on the clock.
Cool.
And go.
So I mean, at this point, it's 4 seasons deep, but Netflix's Formula One Drive to Survive just returned. With the new season coming up, I think this Sunday the first race is happening. It's just a really fun sports documentary show, and the only thing I can kind of say against it is how dramatized they make things. But if you have any like interest in race car driving or just like interesting personalities surrounding this like weirdly political sport, I really recommend it. It's they do a good job of building a storyline over the course of the season to kind of flesh out like these characters, which I don't know, it's a really interesting like look into sports, which I feel like we don't necessarily have in other things, at least to the entirety of the sport at once. But it would be like, I always joke on this podcast that Formula One became my quarantine sport, and just this most recent season is really good and it ties in really well. Not saying it to start from the beginning, but there are really good episodes from all 4 seasons, and I recommend it.
Yeah, I know it's massive in Europe and UK, and like it's just hitting now. Like I think a lot of people like you got hooked after the Netflix, the first season, because the first season landed on Netflix in like early 2020.
Something like, I mean, I know this is the 4th season. I know they put a season out before before the race starts, so it's kind of like basically they just do a recap of the previous season of and they kind of just like build it through that. I haven't finished this most recent season, but it was a really good season of the sport. Yeah. It's race car driving looks cool, which is most of it also. Like, so it's just fun to look at.
We've just bastardized as Americans. Like NASCAR seems so fucking boring. I mean,
it is boring as shit.
Fans, but Formula One seems sick. I'm still not super. I kind of just like 2 sports. I like basketball and I like soccer. And I don't really like any other sport. It's kind of weird, I think.
I got into it because it's like 2 hours, no commercials, and I can just hang out and watch it.
Yeah.
And then cars go fast, and occasionally there might be a crash.
Oh, do they crash in Formula? Well, I guess Formula One's not. I thought the drag race one. I was thinking of the
drag
race one where they're
Formula One's like Formula One's like courses and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like
like Ford versus Ferrari. I know that movie.
Exactly. It's basically that. Yes, Jay.
I'm such a fucking loser. All my references are from fucking movies. I've also read some books too.
There's that movie Rush that I never saw. But,
Rush is strange. It's very weird. I haven't rewatched it since it came out, which was in like what?
I think this was like right after Thor came out. Like it was
2013.
Like
this was like peak first wave of Chris Hemsworth.
It was like people didn't know what he was just yet. Is he an actor or is he just kind of like there?
I mean, Ron Howard's got a couple of those in his locker where he just makes very strange movies that.
Yeah. To me, he's like such a middle ground of a director, just like, except for that one movie he put out recently. But other than that, I'm like, he usually makes movies that are fine.
Yeah, I think Ron Howard is he's sort of like the peak of like $15 million movie director. He's not like I don't think he makes great blockbusters, but although I guess Apollo 13 is the one exception to that rule.
That's 95. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. It's things have really changed. But despite the controversy, not even controversy, but the changing opinions on Beautiful Mind over the year, I think Beautiful Mind is like an amazingly made movie. Whether or not the story makes any sense or like if it's at all based on a true story, I think is why people don't like it. But I think he has some tricks in his locker. He also will occasionally make like Hillbilly Elegy, which
is a thing that happened.
So, although I don't know if that's on him. I think that was like Glenn Close was like desperately trying to get an Oscar and then made this just bad choice.
I really want to get an Oscar. This movie looks like it's gonna suck. I'll pay you this much money.
I mean, that's been the last decade of Will Smith's career, basically. So,
well, let's see how that works out for him this year.
We'll see.
Che, what's your thing?
All right, my turn. 1 minute on the clock for me, and go. I will be pitching a freeform show, which don't tune out just yet. It's a promise.
I'm already out. But continue.
It is called Single Drunk Female. It is, by the time you're hearing this episode, it will have, the finale will have aired. We're recording this before the finale airs, so I don't know exactly how the season ends. But basically the concept of the show is a woman is an alcoholic and has basically reached her bottom. She gets sent to jail and has to do community service, and then is forced to go into AA meetings. And the story picks up at the beginning, basically at that point. And the first season is about her journey through sobriety and like the difficulties that she has reconnecting with people, especially her mother, and just forming relationships and like romantic relationships. And it's a really heartwarming and funny show that I think it's just like it's not a show that I really normally get into. I think that's why I've enjoyed it so much. That's I don't know if that's like a good pitch. Like I don't really like shows like this usually, but I like it. But I think that's a good thing though. It's where
I think like if you aren't a fan of a genre, but then that thing stands out in the genre, I think that's a very good sign of a show. And I mean, the title itself is also, to me, I'm like, I don't want to watch this shit. Like
it is a bad title, but I also kind of love
watches
the
my show
on it.
Single Drunk Man. No one watches my show, Jay.
Yeah,
I don't understand why.
That show usually ends in a felony. So that's the thing.
That's how I burned down a school.
Yeah, the show only like the things she does are fucked up, but they're fucked up like in like a way that could still be in a sitcom. Single Drunk Male is like a horror movie by A24. Like that's
I'm pitching that movie to them.
It's the story of a man killing a lot of women and children and then going and downing Jack Daniels. Actually, I'm cutting this part of the podcast out. We're gonna write
that's actually a good idea. It's kind of basically that movie. What the fuck was it called with Quentin Tarantino? Death Proof.
Oh yeah.
Basically,
there's a lot of movies about terrible men. I mean, one of my favorite shows of all time, Mad Men, is basically just a show about a bad alcoholic guy.
Yeah, he's a bad, like, overall he's just it's not a good person by the end of the first season. It's
I think that's the thing that I really love about John Draper's character in Mad Men as a whole is the entire point of the show. And if you watch from start to finish, you watch this character arc of a guy when you realize at the beginning he like seems cool but fucked up. Like, this guy's like, he cheats on his wife. He's a dickhead. He's but he like drinks whiskey at work and wears cool suits and he looks like John Hamm. And then by the end of the show, you realize, this guy's like lame and bad and like has basically destroyed every relationship in his life. And it's just a beautifully crafted show. I'm happy to talk about Mad Men all day, but we've got other shit to talk about. Starting with this terrible DMC adaptation that HBO Max just dropped.
So if you guys are actually saying though, like, hey, this isn't bad if you're finishing the 4 episodes, we only watched the first one.
Yeah. But so maybe I can't imagine more of this is going to improve it.
Yeah, I can't imagine it either. For those who aren't aware, DMZ is I believe it's Vertigo comic.
Yes.
Yes, it's a Vertigo DC comic from the mid 2000s during the Bush era. The premise of it is that there's like the island of Manhattan has become a demilitarized zone. And in the book, a photojournalist accidentally ends up in it and ends up covering both sides of this gang civil war happening on it. Book's really good. Brian Wood's not a great guy, but the book's good.
Oh, is he not?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Because I was actually really hoping that before I watched this show, I was hoping this show would succeed enough that they would then adapt his other book, which his other book that I really like, which is Briggs Land. But they are doing a Briggs Land show, aren't they? Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, like, listen, they made this, but like those allegations came out before. But besides that, I think the original book is good, but this show basically just took the setting of it and changed everything else. And I don't know about you. I mean, like, I've never actually finished the original series, but I remember reading
finish it, but I don't. It's finished so long, I don't really remember it.
I remember at least like
10 years ago now.
Yeah, I remember the beginning of it though. Like the first couple volumes were just very good because I like that whole like let's look at it. It's like the journalist point of views in comics works out very, very well sometimes, and I think that's a good example of it. Transmetropolitan, I think, is the best example of it, but I think DMZ does a really good job of mimicking it and feeling like it's like alt history, but it makes it so approachable that it's like it makes it fun. This show doesn't really acknowledge any of that. This show's weird.
I was shocked at how bored I was for
that's what it was.
An hour-long episode where so much stuff happens in this premiere. I didn't think it would be because one, let's be very clear, the show is packed with good actors and stars and a lot of recognizable faces, and I don't think they're the problem. Rosario Dawson, who is once again straddled with a show that I think no human being on planet Earth will watch.
It's so bad because she's always good, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? What are you
And
doing? Like, every once in a while,
defense-
we'll get something from her. I mean, what was the name of that one show, the detective show that we
Well,
both
Briar
liked?
Patch. That's what I'm saying. Usually the shows
Yeah.
are good. Like I like Briar Patch, but again, me, you, and Andy Greenwald are the three people that watch Briar Patch. So usually the shows are good. She's just nobody watches them for whatever reason, except for Luke Cage, obviously. But
Obviously.
and we have Benjamin Bratt, who is just all class, handsome man. Some other record. We have Ray Gallegos, who is a really famous character actor. I think people will most recognize him from Glass Jaw. Has anybody seen Glass Jaw except for me? He was in Rambo, the 2008 Rambo. Did anybody see that movie besides me?
No.
Maybe people won't
surprisingly.
recognize him.
No, I don't think so. Like, you're naming some things I know.
Mamie
I
Gummer's in the show. It's a lot
I
of.
did
it's
see
just like a lot of big
2008 Rambo.
names.
I just don't remember what happens in that.
He's like
I think you still did.
fighting
No, this
terrorists again. Don't remember.
probably.
It was
I don't
terrible.
fuck. He goes to another country and kills a bunch of people that are a different color. It's great. What? That's what he does.
No, you're right. It's basically the story of
The
Sylvester
only
Stallone's
good
film
Rambo was
career.
the first Rambo was the only good Rambo because it's not an action movie.
Yeah, the first Rambo is a story about PTSD and the
Yes,
traumas
and then-
of war.
And then somehow many movies later he's in Texas killing, I'm assuming, Mexican people. I'm assuming.
Probably.
Probably.
No one
I
gets
bet
American.
it's against a cartel or some shit. Just
Yeah. But this show, it's
yes.
I mean, this first episode, basically the concept. We don't need to go over what the comic book's about. We don't need to bother spoiling that because the show has really no relation to it. Basically, the concept is Rosario Dawson playing Alma is a nurse who's working in the what are they calling it? And it's not. She's not in the DMZ. She's in like
no, it's like one of the like it's like the outside of
yeah,
it. Like
she's working in the bordering region of America that's not the DMZ, and she has not abandoned. In the fleeing of the DMZ when the war started, she lost her son and has been like trying to get back into the DMZ to find him. She finally gets back in. It all goes haywire. Rose, a doctor who is helping her, and then she also helps Rose escape, gets killed. And then the episode ends, and this is a full spoiler because, again, don't bother watching the show. The episode ends with revealing that this guy, who we've basically only seen him that's not threaten, but intimidate a little child and then
Yes.
beat the shit out of a man,
yes.
is the son she's been looking for, I guess, now, the timeline of the show's weird, but I guess 12 years?
Yeah, they say 7. That is not 7 years of aging. They keep saying 7 years, and I'm like, that is not the same like 15-year-old.
I guess that kid could have been 15.
All right.
I don't. Here's my thing. I have
The
like,
guy that
age
guy ain't
blindness.
22.
If you're under the age of 24, they all look like 12-year-olds to me.
That's so true.
I steer very, very clear of them because they have nothing to say to me because I don't want to talk about Minecraft. But other than that, I don't know.
You never
how
want to
people
talk about Minecraft. I tried to start the Minecraft podcast before we got started with this.
I know zero things about Minecraft. I know it's a video game, and I think you build things in it.
Yeah, that's
That's
basically
about all I know.
That's all you do. Yeah,
You think if we say Minecraft enough, the YouTube algorithm will like show us to PewDiePie
probably.
viewers?
At some point, we're just gonna have to play Minecraft and just hate our entire lives while doing so.
We should just become alt-right.
No.
That seems to be very popular on YouTube.
What if we just went Candace Owens route? Like, what if we just decided to be like, fuck it, let's just say a bunch of wild shit and like just end up on Fox News and get
It's
paid.
working for a lot of people, Corey.
Oh,
Candace
man.
Owens is cashing checks out here.
Yo, dude, like how long would you sell out for? Like I feel like I would give myself a time limit to be like, oh, I was just fucking around.
Once I got a condo.
Yeah, that's fair. As soon as I paid all my shit, I'm like, oh no, I'm fucking around. This is stupid. Y'all stupid.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
I don't really even know what else to say about this show. I mean, we should
not
try to
good.
talk about it.
Why?
I
don't know. It's just the concept of it. I mean, we talked about the concept of it.
Yeah.
Interesting concept, really cool backdrop. It's just they chose the most cookie cutter, boring show to make out of this.
Should we have the Ava DuVernay conversation today?
I mean, the conversation is that maybe she's not that good at making fiction.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you put because 13th is fantastic. So fair enough. it's odd because
But I don't know. I don't know if it's the directing. I mean, like maybe I guess she's the showrunner on
she's
this.
also the
executive-
showrunner and she directs the
So
first
I mean
episode.
that is very much I guess like part of the story. But I think the directing didn't bother me necessarily. I think the story itself was what I
it's
was just
bland though. There's nothing
yeah.
going on.
It's nothing. Yeah, but I mean I think it's like those things are very hard to make. Like I don't always understand like why they just make it always gray. It's not like at some point whenever like everything goes bad in New York, it's just a constant state of gray. Like why? Like I mean.
Well, I
don't
do think
know.
the thing is, so that
And also
you get
they
this,
ripped off this. They ripped off that scene from the Warriors, like, not in a good way. It was just
so
like
cheesy and
it's
bad.
not good. It was such a weird thing. It's like the whole people shouting out what gang they're from gets really weird when everyone is in their late 30s. It's only been 7 years.
Well, also like
It's not like
part
Escape
is
from New
that
York.
part is directed really badly, I think, because what it does is it makes it like a music video intro. Like it's not even like the things are actually happening. Like he'll announce the gang and then it'll be like a shot of them to camera cheering or saying their like 4-2 thing, which is not how human beings act.
No. That was it sucked. It sucked.
Yeah,
They didn't even get good. They could have. It's like they could have made this a lot more stylized or something. But like, I was like, I think it was the worst. Like these are the different gangs or like whatever like trope, and they made it really boring. And I feel like those like you can always do something at least a little bit fun with it. I don't know. There's nothing. There's no style to this show, which is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Like they just made a thing, and it wasn't like. I think the concept was like if you kind of made this, but you had an interesting story like this, I would be a lot more forgiving. But they don't really do either. Where it's like the directing is good enough, and the writing is bland as shit.
I wonder. Not,
Like what the fuck was the point of that black kid? Unfortunately, I'm like, what the fuck is his character?
I
He's
think
a dead-
I think it's
what is the
literally
point of him?
just for the scene that Rosario Dawson hugs him. It's the only reason that character exists. It's the only reason he's in the show. Is so that Rosario Dawson can hug him and cry and show genuinely how good of an actor she is.
Yes.
But it's so out of place in the narrative. I remember when that scene started happening, I like rewound like 5 times thinking I must have missed something. I
It just,
didn't
like,
understand
jumps.
why it was happening.
It just jumps to the grilled cheese and I'm like, what the like, I was just so confused. Like, 'cause I looked away for a second because I got fucking bored. And then someone gets shot in the hospital. And then she almost gets shot. And then it's just
Can
like,
we talk
what-
about the shooting in the hospital though? My favorite part of that scene is when, and listen, very sad, woman gets shot in the head, but there's
fake.
a bullet hole in. Yeah, no, I know, but I was like, very sad in the context of the show. There's a bullet hole in her head. A man is walking over to her with an IV.
yeah,
What's he gonna IV?
he's gonna IV that bullet right out of her.
I just love it. Like a doctor or a nurse or somebody is walking over. He has an IV stand. He's about to what? Unless that's fucking fountain of life water, you
I
better
really wonder-
get it away from her.
How did that happen though? Like it's like yeah, it's like how the fuck did that happen? Like structure wise, like okay, you're gonna walk over the IV thing, but why? Is she not dead?
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder.
But
I mean,
why?
if you're like an extra, you can't really turn to the director and be like, wow, have you thought about this? But somebody should have caught that one, I think.
'Cause I tried that once, and that's why I'm blacklisted as an extra in New York City.
Is that why you didn't get to meet Terry Crews?
That's why, yes. So fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
across the street. It's fucking horseshit, man.
I say it all the time because I want to preface all conversations I have about Ava DuVernay and really all black women in general that like I'm only rooting for their success. I want her to be successful.
I really I was like, wait, Che's about to say something we might
No,
have to
because
cut
I
out.
just
I don't know.
because
I didn't know
also
where you
think, I think a lot of people that have podcasts and have conversations like this are rooting against Ava DuVernay.
Why?
And people like because
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said why like that. No, I wanted like I was genuinely excited for this show. I didn't know it was coming out.
Yeah.
I just remember hearing like Rosario Dawson's in DMZ show. I'm like, oh, that's tight. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
And it was just like, yeah,
it's not good. And
it's not good.
this is the
I'm gonna watch the second episode though. I don't know why, but I'm gonna watch it.
yeah. I mean, I
only four-
probably
there's, like,
will out of more curiosity.
Yeah, it's just
but
like I'm curious to see how it's gonna end, but I don't. That's not enjoyment. That's just watching something.
that's the other thing that's really weird. 4-episode miniseries for a book that went on for
72 issues.
7 years, 72 issues, 7 years is odd. It's
I
an
don't get
odd
it.
choice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was also wondering too, because like this is a very like you can't. It's like one of those things like you can't fix this problem at the end of like 4 episodes. There's a war happening.
Right.
You need like you. There's like some shit you got to figure
Well,
out.
I guess theoretically the end of the show is just going to be she gets her son to come back with her, but
But who
war will
gives a
still be
shit? The,
going on.
the kid's a murderer apparently. Or actually, we don't know if he murders anybody. Wait, no, do we?
He had to be told not to choke this man out in front of everybody, so
Gotcha.
I'm assuming. Although, no, isn't that his wall where he crosses off all the names?
Oh yeah,
So
weird,
he's killed
but
all those
okay.
people on the wall, right?
Okay, suppose so. Can't
Also
wait.
a weird little narrative thing. Like he writes your name down on a giant wall, and then you know he's
Comes
coming to
back.
kill you, and then he
Yeah.
comes and kills you and crosses it off.
Like if I was on the list, why would I not just go wait for them to come back and then shoot him in the face?
One of my favorite, and I'm not gonna be able to remember what show it was in, but I just remember the moment stuck with me. Not so much the show, so the show probably wasn't good, but it was like a cop show where they were talking about they'd gotten a threat of like a terrorist attack, and one of the detectives in the show just goes, "Terrorists don't threaten; they just act." Which is like a thing that like TV shows I think have convinced people that like every killer is the Zodiac killer. Like they all send you letters, tell you they're coming, and then come and murder you. But usually when people die, they don't know what's gonna happen.
No,
So like,
usually not. No. Like I'll say, like if I see my name on a wall, I'm like, I'm either going into hiding or like there's something like
yeah.
no. I'm like no, fuck you. I don't want to. No, fuck you. Take my name off there. Paint over it, little creepy girl.
Yeah, I would have loved the show to be good. It seems like the real downfall of the show is that it got trapped in production hell. It was originally supposed to be a sci-fi show, and it's been in like circulating for years. I think it was
I got to
originally announced in 2014. So we're a long way down the line. With
I have
this.
to imagine what happened was that like their idea behind the show was probably like multi-season or whatever, and then someone was like, "You're gonna get 4 episodes." And
I just don't understand why at that point why make it, because all you've done is if you are whoever, I guess Warner Brothers, who has
who owns the rights
to
already.
this, all you've done is now burn a perfectly
no
good
reason.
IP on something that you knew was not going to be successful.
No, it's weird. Like, because I mean, like, you don't make you don't dump all the episodes out
Yeah,
on HBO Max for four. Like, that's nothing.
no,
They don't. I don't think. I'm assuming they don't get. I don't know how the fucking metrics work with it, but like, I can't imagine people who would do a free trial get through this in a day and then cancel their shit if they really wanted to do it that way.
yeah.
It's just
I mean,
weird.
the economics of like streaming services is always very confusing to me. But I mean, this can't be good for anybody, really.
That's what I'm thinking,
Can't
too.
be good for DC. Can't be good for. I mean, Brian Wood can't be good for.
But like, does HBO even do this though? I mean, like, Peacemaker got 3 episodes out first, which made sense because it's the rest of a season. But I can't recall HBO doing something like this.
They do with some of their HBO Max originals. So
Gotcha.
like the stuff that's just HBO Max streaming, like oh my god, what was that? Love Life is one.
Mm-hmm.
Both the first season and the second season dropped all at once. Starstruck is another one, but that's also like a BBC property, so they wait for the whole BBC show to air weekly, and then they drop the whole thing at once on HBO Max. So they do it sometimes, but not for shows that are going to be on HBO, obviously, which this clearly was never going to make the cut. I mean, right now, HBO's model is always one anchor drama on Sundays, sometimes a midweek drama that's more artsy, and then usually one or two sitcoms that run after the anchor drama. Right now, the anchor drama is Winning Time, which is like 30,000 times as good as this show. It's basically the Magic Johnson to DMC's Russell Westbrook. Shout out to my guy Russ, but
Wow.
I mean, I genuinely one of my favorite players to watch ever, but he's terrible at basketball now. So what can you say?
That's really fair. Che, let's take a break and come back and talk about some good things.
All right, that sounds good to me.
What's up, man?
What's up?
How you in at work?
Got fired yesterday.
For real? I thought you had a day off yesterday.
I did. I went in there to pick up my check, came home. Supervisor called me about 4 o'clock. Talking about they got me on videotape stealing boxes.
What the fuck you doing stealing boxes for? What, you trying to build a clubhouse? Man, I know you ain't go out like that.
Hell no. They ain't got me on tape. She said they did. Fired me on the spot. Talking about pressing charges.
God damn. You got to be a stupid motherfucker to get fired on your day off. Pop's talking about kicking you out again?
Yep.
And we're back.
Sup?
All right, we've got some good comics to talk about this week. Actually, we're pretty much done with bad shit for the rest of the podcast, so don't worry. Actually, Corey's gonna dunk on the Batman at the end of this podcast.
Yeah, I got some hot takes to sling at that movie, guys.
But before we get there, first up on the list is Apache Delivery Service. This is the Matt Kindt and Tyler Jenkins' book. We are 3 issues in. It is about I don't know if did we find out what his specific role is, or his not role, what are they called? Position? Title. Whatever, he's a soldier in Vietnam. I think he's just a regular soldier.
I think he's just like a tracker basically, or like something like that. There's a specific term for it, but like he finds like bases and like camps and stuff like that and signals for them to get bombed and shit. Yeah,
and he is very specifically not Apache. He is Navajo.
Yes.
But classic 1970s, 1960s racism. All Native Americans are Apache. Are Apache as far as white people are concerned. His name is Ernie Nez, and the first issue basically we're talking about all 3 issues. A little bit of spoiler, but I think the plot of this is not as
it's not necessarily important.
Not as important as I think the vibe and the way that Kindt writes this book. But basically, he gets recruited by a mysterious, overdressed gentleman in the jungles of Vietnam to track down a treasure, basically. And by the end of the 3rd issue, we discover that not all is as it seems with this dapper gentleman, for lack of a better word. And we talked about some Matt Kindt books on the podcast before. This is very different than anything he's ever written before.
Very different. I agree with you. This is like a very like slow, introspective burn of a book. Yeah,
for people who don't know Kindt, we've got Berserker is probably his most famous thing, which is going to soon be a Keanu Reeves Netflix series that he co-wrote with Keanu Reeves, but I think that's a lie. I don't think Keanu actually wrote any of that book.
That's fine.
He also wrote the sort of subversive but really fun spy book Bang from a few years ago, and Revolver is probably his like the work that really put him onto this scene, is Vertigo graphic novel. Tyler Jenkins, as far as I know, I looked up as much, and again we talked about this a little bit on the Far Sector podcast. Artists are terrible with managing their websites. I couldn't find any information about this guy except for that I know he's written he did the art for Fear Case, another Kindt book. But other than that, this like I said, this book is like so, even just art wise, I'm kind of, it's not really even like the Fear Case art. It's very it kind of gives you this fog of war element, which I really love.
Yeah, I can't exactly put my finger on it, but it just feels like this artist is just very perfect for capturing that like obviously to us like the whole like film or television representation of the Vietnam War, and I think it does a very good job of like kind of carrying that in with it.
The
it's like horror-esque. It's like it's good. It's like it fits. It goes from being like normal to being like terrifying at moments and stuff.
Yeah, the scene I really love that sort of demonstrated it is that scene where it's in the 2nd issue where the 2 men are coming out of, or they're like trying to sneak through a forest, and they come across for us, a shadowy group of soldiers. It becomes obvious pretty quickly that they are the Viet Cong, and they begin to shoot at them. The 2 men turn and run backward into a rice field where they come across American soldiers, or American allied soldiers, whatever they might be. And then they start firing at them, and in this like sort of chaotic, it's like even the colors and the pacing of the panels and everything on these 2 pages, it's impossible to tell what's going on. I think by design. You see a man get brutally killed. He gets burned alive, basically. And then we turn the page, and it just turns out everything was okay. And I love the line after that where he says, "I think you're our good luck charm." He says, "Yeah, the luckiest guy on earth," as he's stepping over a mass grave. And I think that's like basically encapsulates the tone of this book in a nutshell, which is war is hell. And nothing that people do to each other is ever worse than war. And we have one guy who's like sort of thriving off of it. And then and it's like kind of like you shouldn't just be here, right? And then we have our main character who is tortured by it. I mean, he even says point blank, "I hate killing," in the 3rd issue. I think this is saying something because I like really love Bang. I thought Berserker is like hella fun. I can't wait for that show. It's gonna be insane.
Berserker was a lot of fun. It's an insane amount of fun. It's just ridiculous though.
I think this is my favorite Kindt book I've ever read. Which even just 3 issues in, there's a dark horse coming for those of you who are looking to pick it up. I'm big into this book.
No, I'm just kind of excited to like get this like wrapped up because it's a good thing where like every time I reach the end of an issue I'm like, oh, I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. It's more of like this book does a good job of just being like a mood of a book, if that makes any sense.
I think your criticism is fair that like you said it in the break, but like nothing's happened yet for a book where it's very action packed. We've got very little plot development. I think it's an interesting time to be checking in on it for us because I think the end of the 3rd issue is kind of when the actual story starts.
That's what it seems to be happening. And I was like, I kept on thinking like, oh, this is like every time the issue ends, I'm like, this is interesting, and then then the situation will just be like, okay, that happened, and then we're doing something completely new now. It's a weird set of stakes where I don't really necessarily feel concerned for our main character.
Yeah.
And not the sense I didn't like his character. It's more like I just don't really feel any like I'm like you'll be fine. I think for a while.
The story's so tethered to him, it would be impossible. I mean, it would be an incredibly bold move to kill off Ernie and swap perspectives. I don't think I've ever read any comic book that's ever pulled that off. The only book I can even think of is my mind is going completely blank. The James Baldwin book, where like the first 40 pages of it are first person perspective through the person you think is the main character, and then he just dies on one page. And I remember being like, literally I'm reading it and I like close the book to be like to see how much is left, and there's like 99% of the book is still left. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I guess that's what we're doing here.
Yeah,
so,
seems
that would be really cool. But I think the point of this book is not Ernie's journey even. It's just that it's just Kindt has a clear frustration with the state of humanity and war. And I think we are in for a lot of Vietnam War books and movies in the near future. I would guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've noticed that we're kind of like, it's been touched on recently, last 10 years if I'm thinking about it. It just it'll like randomly come up as like, not necessarily like the most important part of the story, but it is definitely like a backdrop for certain things.
I think especially because of who's making movies now, they were either very young or just coming out of the Vietnam War, and it's just like this specter hanging over them. And also it is the war that is most, I think in a lot of ways, everybody of course makes the Hitler parallel to Putin, but there's a lot of parallels with Putin and what the Americans did to Vietnam. Not that Americans want to have that conversation, but the horrors of the Vietnam War, I think, are singular in a way that will become very poignant in media going forward in the next few years.
So I'm excited to see how this book plays out.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Of these books we're going to talk about, we have a lot on this list. I think it is my favorite, which is saying something because the other two that we're about to talk about are excellent as well.
Okay, let's switch over to some superhero stuff then. We have Mark Waid's with Dan Mora on art and Tamara Bonvillain. That's a cool last name.
Yeah. I had to check. I double check that it wasn't Bonvillain or anything, but it is just Bonvillain, which is
but I'm just missing one D there, and then it's just like the perfect name ever.
But I honestly didn't even clock that. What?
Oh, that's why.
Just go change it. Just go get your name changed.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Just like you can keep your family, it's fine. But Batman / Superman World's Finest. Like it's one of those resurrections of the classic Batman and Superman team up book, and I've just had a shit ton of fun with this book.
Mark Waid's a fucking legend for a reason. We did a book club obviously of Kingdom Come. I think Daredevil is probably his most famous work outside of that.
Well, Kingdom Come, Daredevil, just Flash Run is fucking amazing.
Birthright, obviously.
Birthright. It's like if he does something, it's fucking good. Mark Waid's one of those like classic. He's just been working his ass off forever, and it's always puts out something really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's in like speaking against I'm not trying to like throw this against Apache Delivery Service, but like this only had one issue that's been out so far, but I felt like so much happened in it and it didn't feel cluttered to me.
No,
like
there's a lot of we're talking about two DC books that have a lot of familiar faces cycling through the plot, and I think they're all used very effectively, which is hard to do. I find often if you've got like 80 villains and 12 heroes in your book, it's a crutch and you're not telling an interesting story. That's not the case for either this or Killing Time, which we're going to talk about in a second.
And I mean, like, basically, he's got how it always starts with these things. One of Batman's villains decided to fuck off to Metropolis, so Batman had to go just be like, what's up? Stop doing this. And then like, Superman and him team up. Superman gets injected with some red kryptonite. That makes him almost explode, basically. But then just basically a lot of, like, shenanigans and comic book stuff happens.
Yeah.
But it's another story. I don't really think the plot necessarily, like, important. I was more worried because I thought this was just maybe a one-shot, and I was terrified because I'm like, this was amazing and I want this to keep on going. It looks like this series is going to go on for a little bit. But no, yeah, I mean, like, any good story to me when you can include Batman, Robin, and Superman and just make it charming as hell, then that's a good book to me. Also,
Poison Ivy, my sneak pick for best Batman villain.
I'm wondering when she'll make the return to the big screen.
I think the problem is that maybe not the problem. Maybe it's not, the problem is not the right word. But I think the reason that might be further down the future than we maybe want it to be is that Uma Thurman is so ingrained in people's minds as
Jay, that was 20 years ago, man. We can let it go by now, man.
It's
been 25 years.
I'm with you. And I also think because of how humans have continued to destroy the earth, Poison Ivy's only a more interesting villain as the years go by. But
she's only a villain because she kills people.
Yeah, sure.
I think it was like she's an eco-terrorist. And I think Robin's like, well, that's putting it very lightly.
Yeah. I want it on the record. I'm Team Poison Ivy. I say it here right now.
Well, no, people suck. No, I agree with you.
But yeah, I mean, it also is like she tonally hasn't really fit. Like, could you see the
I could see her pop up
Poison Ivy in it?
I could see her pop up in Harley Quinn.
Yes. I
could see her pop up as that, but I can't imagine seeing her, especially not as the Batman villain. Can't imagine in the Robert Pattinson version. But no, I don't think.
Also, I don't think these Batman movies can have a female villain because you just won't, like, we know we're not going to see Robert Pattinson beat the shit out of Sydney Sweeney or something. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No, it's not going to work
on your movie screen. So to have them be the villain, it would be, I think it has to be like they did.
I can't remember what it was. It was a very, and this joke wouldn't work in the Batman movie, but I can't remember if it was a cartoon, but it was a very tongue-in-cheek Batman show. And then there was I think it was like Poison Ivy or somebody else. Like, you wouldn't hit a woman, and then he punches her in the face and say the fist of justice is unisex. And I still think about that line a fucking lot.
Yeah, but it only works in a cartoon.
No, it only works when it's silly. You can't have Robert Pattinson doing that.
If you have a female villain in a Batman movie, it has to be like Marion Cotillard in The Dark Knight Rises, where it's like she's like appears at the end, like backstabs the Batman.
I could see Talia al Ghul showing up again, but I don't know if they want to touch on because I mean, I don't know, because League of Assassins was such a big part of Nolan's. I can't imagine they actually would go back to that anytime soon.
No, I mean, it would be interesting, and Poison Ivy is really great in this book. I mean,
yes, Poison Ivy is very fun in this book. Yeah, like, I think Poison Ivy is just a very fun villain.
Yeah.
She's obviously fun to draw. It's just like it brings in a lot of just because I don't think it ever really ends with him like punching her, thankfully. But it's just like I always like seeing Poison Ivy show up, and I love Metallo. It was a good throwback to I think the Jeff Loeb series that came out fucking forever ago.
Yeah.
It felt like a really good like reference to that, but it's also does its own thing a lot that it makes it just like this is fucking fun comic book.
Yeah, anytime there's a classic Robin suit in a comic book, I know I'm in for a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. Dick Grayson only makes your books better. I don't think that's just a character fact for the DC comics. I think your books will only get better if you added Nightwing.
You mean Dick Robin Grayson?
Dick Robin Grayson.
What was he thinking?
So stupid. It doesn't matter. Just call him Dick Grayson. It's okay. Because I think everyone in the theater groaned when that came out. It wasn't
the theater I was in, somebody cheered. They were like, "Cool reveal!" It's like this.
Like we know it. We all saw it happen. It was just more. It was just stupid.
Also, imagine making your son's middle name Robin. Like, why? It's only because of this dumb comic book reference that they get to make in a movie.
But also, like, the woman's like, you should go by your name. Like, why the fuck would I go by Robin? Like, why would I make my first name Robin? As if, like, just like, this doesn't make sense for like a police officer to be like Robin Blake. He doesn't look like a Robin Blake. Why's the name Robin?
Robin's a great name. Not
Robin's
for, not for a
no.
cop.
It didn't make any sense though in the time, and also like the weird like his name was like John or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you go by your middle name? I'm like,
In a career of strange moves from the man who brought us Interstellar, it's my least favorite thing Christopher Nolan's ever done, and that's saying something.
so weird.
Actually, it's not true. Nothing will ever top the stupidity of the bookshelf scene in Interstellar, but second is Robin.
So I still am confused by that scene, but that's fine.
You can't be confused by it because it doesn't make any sense. There's nothing for you to be unconfused by.
Love.
You can't just say love.
Love.
I know you and Christopher Nolan think that's how plot works, but you can't just say a word and have it be the explanation for your movie.
Time travel, dreams, people fall down and get back up again. That's pretty much what his thing is, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything else about World's Finest?
No, I recommend this book a lot.
It's a ton of fun. We'll be talking about it for sure
fun.
going forward.
Excited to see this going. I was so happy to learn that it wasn't a miniseries. But yeah, next up from one of Che's and I's favorites, one of our favorite comic book teams, Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, known for Descender, Ascender, and most recently the Robin and Batman miniseries for DC Comics.
For some reason in my head, and maybe it's because Descender and Ascender have been going on for so long, they've done more stuff together, but it's just those three things. I don't think they've done.
Is that really it?
I couldn't find anything else, and I couldn't remember anything else.
I think
it feels like they're like a team that's worked together like a lot. But
I think it's just like Descender and Ascender like have been like a weird part of our podcast because it's like Descender was like ongoing when we started. I remember talking about it early on. We've done book clubs about it, and then like it just stayed really good till the end. And then Ascender has been a fantastic sequel series.
Yeah.
That it's just been they're just like really great match together.
It's
and
also
I loved
Wynn's
Robin and Batman.
So good.
It's fucking cheating. It's cheating.
I'm such a big fan, and I think a lot of it is because like it's unique. There's nobody doing art that looks like this, so it's just a breath of fresh air with how many comic books I read and how many comics we read. And I get if he's not like, if you're like a casual comic fan, I could see how maybe this art could at times feel inaccessible. But I think and Lemire is one of the best writers at picking the right artist for his books. I think I've never felt that Lemire has ever had a story and an art style clash, and I mean, I know I'm a broken record, but of course, Sorrentino and Lemire on Gideon Falls is still my favorite pairing of artist author ever. So it's just like
this might be up there for me besides Matt Fraction and David Aja.
I'm gonna agree with you. Descender. I mean, if you guys haven't read Descender and Ascender, definitely go pick those up. But
absolutely.
Let's talk about Little Monster. So Little Monster is so far we don't know a ton.
Exactly. It seems to be like a post-apocalyptic world, and all we've seen so far are these 8 children.
So it seems like they don't age because we've been told they've been here for hundreds of years.
Yes. Don't age. They seem to. Okay, let's be honest. They're fucking vampires. I think they're vampires. Yeah, they're vampires. Basically, it's a bunch of like vampires in this like abandoned New York City.
But they're vampires that can eat
rats.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there's only certain things like only human blood. It's like whatever fucking vampires can do. Whatever fuck.
That's true.
But as we just mentioned, that the blood though, love the thing that they do in this book because Dustin Nguyen is very known for his watercolors as a form of like as coloring. And this book is mostly black and white, except for the hints of like not hints. It's like whenever there's something red on screen, and it just sticks out like such a sore thumb that it just like draws your eye.
Yeah,
just a really cool. I love his art, and I think this like, and he has just like such an innocence to his characters that even if there's like horrible things happening around it, it just feels very like not upbeat, but it definitely doesn't like feel like as like dreary as it could be. If there was like a different artist on this book, it could be a lot more depressing than what this comes off as being.
Well, I mean, you say only. It's mostly all red. We get a lot of blood. We get a red
like a
capsule
little
flag, and some of the names for the intros of the characters are red. But my favorite page in this entire book is when Rami, I guess, is like doing chalk art on the walls before his disappearance at the end of the book, and it's just like this splash of like blues and yellows, and you get flowers. He just drawn some flowers on the walls, and it's this break in the pacing of the story that's just so beautifully done.
And then you cut right back to like the kids with blood on their mouths,
right? Eating rats and jumping off of buildings.
I'm really curious to see where this goes because
love this first issue.
Love the first issue. Yeah, no, I'm just genuinely, I'm like trying to look back and see if I missed anything.
Well, it's just I think the ending is such a smart, like you said, it doesn't take a ton of close reading to figure out they're vampires. And you could have missed the line that said it's getting early, because obviously because it's in black and white, it's not clear until that exact moment that this is nighttime, not daytime.
Yeah. That's also, I think that's also helpful with like the art itself too. It's just like it's white, so we don't exactly know.
Right.
It's like the slow reveal as this book goes on, with this like trickling out of details that we're also seeing a good job of that in What's the Farthest Place from Here, where it's just like you'll get the exposition, but it won't feel like exposition, which is the best exposition.
Yeah, I think there's. Do you think they've killed all the adults?
That's what I was kind of thinking, that they like ate everybody. That was kind of my assumption, that like they're all just dead because they ate them all.
Because the last page, and I guess I won't show it on the screen, and we don't need to spoil it entirely, but it seems to suggest that the city they're in has been physically blocked off. Like somebody blew up a building and like crumbled a bunch of rocks so that they can't get out.
Which is also just a very interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool. It's a lot of just very like, I want to know more about this world already.
It's just,
and it annoys me that I found the comic immediately. I'm like, God damn it, I learned about this in the first fucking issue. Now I have to wait forever.
Listen, it was Lemire. We were never going to miss a Lemire book. I mean, we did just talk about a Lemire book that neither of us really loved, but he's never done two bad ones back to back. So I wasn't even remotely worried about this.
And that wasn't even bad. It was just okay. And that's the thing with Lemire to me. I don't think it was like.
I thought it was. The other one, I thought it was
Berserker
fine. Book. I thought it was
not
like
fine.
Okay, not Berserker
book.
The one where the like Viking gets transported through time.
Was that him?
Hangs out with a homeless man. I'm pretty sure it is.
That wasn't him. Was that him?
I think
that book sucked.
Yeah,
that book sucked.
I think that's him.
I don't think about that book again. That book sucked. I read like we read all the issues for that.
100% hit rate, so it's hard to
Is it funny? Like I don't know if it's not funny, but it's like reading it, I'm like, this is gonna be on TV soon. It just felt
you think Little Monsters will?
It just seems like a very like I don't know.
I think it's hard to adapt. I think shows with just kids of this tone are tough because you gotta really hit on like 6 child actors.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, listen. I mean, the people are getting better at doing that. So
yeah, we do love Sweet Tooth.
We do love Sweet Tooth.
That's one kid.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things is
basically
the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
would love.
I just like the Goonies, Che. That's what I'm like. I just want to like replicate that for myself.
Yeah, but listen, I like the Goonies too. Are we sure the cast of the Goonies is all bangers from top to bottom?
No.
Corey Feldman's career maybe would suggest that.
Hey.
He maybe wasn't the best actor of all time.
That guy had a rough go with things.
Yeah, I know.
But also Thanos, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, Thanos.
He should be dead in the movie where he gets launched off of a cliff with a little girl's bike. Yeah. So.
Goonies is not even like a low key horror movie. It's a high key horror movie.
Oh, it absolutely. You just like the plot is like they get chased by criminals through a cave.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Fuck. All right, let's. We got one more comic on the list. Before we talk about more Batman stuff, it's Batman Killing Time, written by Tom King with art by David Marquez. Which I listed here. He's also done art for these books. This is Civil War II, which had good art. Bad book. The Defenders, the 2017 version.
I like that.
Good art.
I like that series.
It got real. Did you finish it?
No.
Che, he mailed it in those last 5 issues.
This was Bendis' guy for a while, David Marquez.
Yeah.
And he really caught Bendis at the end of his peak, like as it was all going real downhill. But he did do Miles Morales Spider-Man, which is good.
It is good.
But he did do Civil War II in the Defenders.
Yeah.
Which I liked at the beginning, but apparently I shouldn't go back and finish it. Is what you're saying?
No, it was such a good idea and such a cool team, and then it was just like, if I hit issue like 4 or 5, I'm like, yo, he's not even. He doesn't give a shit. Like it was just like a moment. I'm like, you're not actually trying with this, are you? It's just.
Well, here's the good news.
Yes, we're not talking about that anymore.
He's working with Tom King now, and Tom King is on top form in this book. I'm so excited this exists. Like, I'm spoiling a little bit of Corey's review of the Batman, but Corey said to me after we watched, I texted him, and he said, "This is the Batman movie that you never knew you wanted." I never knew I wanted a heist Batman comic book, but holy shit, if you were gonna give me Inside Man starring the fucking Croc and the Riddler, I'm just gonna be happy all day long. This book is
it's such
fun.
so much fun. Also, like such a good use of like non-linear storytelling too. It was just like, and also I think like I'm honest, like I think Batman authors should just cheat for a little bit, because whenever you start the thing was it's this time here, I'm like, all right, I'm fucking in. Like I don't. Yeah. It's immediately Robert Pattinson is like this. Like I'm in. I don't give a fuck. I'm in.
My only critique of this book is show me Nigma cracking this safe. I just want to see it.
Why was the Riddler so cool in this book? It was a weird thing.
Although
it was like,
I still can't get over his fucking terrible suit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's bad. But it's like for the first time, I'm like, yo, the Riddler's kind of fucking cool in this one.
Awesome.
It was like a weird, like it was an ugly suit, but he was like rocking it.
Ugly suit with the bowler hat, and then beats the living shit out of the Penguin to close out the book. Is he the good guy in this book? Maybe.
Well,
it's not Batman who just beats the shit out of a man who's robbing a bank because he wants to touch his wife again. That's all he wants.
Well, he did kill a guy, Che.
Yeah, the guy was in on it.
He was in on it. I think Croc just hit him a bit too hard.
It's a very Gwen Stacy. I'm trying to scroll through and find the scene where we get the snap sound effect. It's a very Gwen Stacy hitting the ground moment where he bounces onto a brick wall and just dies. I can't find it, but
I hope they don't drag out the mystery about what's in the box, because I never really loved the what's in the box thing.
Well, it's something to do with the not Nefertiti. What was it? It was a Greek princess, right? It's
oh yeah, fuck.
Blanking.
Diana. Was it the Greek princess or the god? I don't think it was the god.
No, because it's her. It's I should know this off the top of my head, but I'm Euphrates. No, Euripides has died. This is bad. This is bad podcasting. I don't remember what her name was, but it's something to do with her, and I think it's probably a possession of Euripides that she still had, or something that is probably mystical, because you wouldn't. I'm
wondering about that.
These villains, we get Catwoman, the Penguin, the Riddler, Croc.
This is also a very intense Catwoman.
Oh yeah, Catwoman.
This is like more like
kills
bad
2 guards, and like this is villain Catwoman, which we haven't really seen in a while.
Did she kill them? I thought she just like knocked him out. I didn't see any explicit murder.
There's a lot of blood in that shot where she slash, and the guy's neck seems to be bleeding. I think.
No, Che. Those people are dead.
Yeah, I think she murdered these 2 guards, tied up this man's wife, and then tortured her to make him pay let them into the safe.
Yeah. Also, like her just like watching over the Riddler just beating the shit out of the Penguin. Yeah, that
scene is brutal.
This is a very different. I mean, Batman seems to be in character, but it definitely does feel like a very like it feels different for sure. It's a bit more of like a harder Gotham.
But we're also still in early Batman stage, because we get the line that's just Gordon is newly commissioner. So this is still like early stages Batman in the whatever canon this is going to be. I mean, it's not canon, but whatever timeline of Batman this is. So
yeah, I don't think it's canon. I think it's just going to be.
No, I can't imagine it would be canon, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to turn Catwoman into a murderer after the movie came out.
Do you think we get Black Catwoman in a comic book anytime soon?
No.
I mean, no. But I'd be about it.
I think the only time they were like, I think Nick Fury, and when they made
because also Nick Fury was not really. I mean, people pretend like he was a really popular comic book character, but he wasn't until the movies, really.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they had Ultimate. My only problem with the Nick Fury in current comics is because of how shoehorned they made him. Because they had the Ultimate Nick Fury, who was Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, he just looked like that was Samuel L. Jackson basically. Yeah. And then they just like made some bullshit canon. It was like, this is Nick Fury's son. No, but okay. And then he loses his eye too. It's just like, it's fuck off. Fuck you.
Do you think that this is unrelated? But I just had this.
Yes.
Do you think the Penguin is dead?
No. Well, maybe.
In this book, do you think the Penguin's dead?
Well, okay. At the same time, I guess
because if the Penguin's dead, my question is, why include him in the story? Because I guess we're almost certainly, based on the way that the story moves in this book, which is flashing back and forth, we're going to get some flashbacks in the rest of the book. Then we're going to have to figure out, like, Tom King is a good enough storyteller that he knows he has to explain to us how these four villains teamed up together, why they decided to rob this bank, even after we get revealed what they're robbing, like why? Because it seems like it was the Penguin's. At least the Penguin thinks it was his idea.
Yeah. No, I'm interested to see how this plays out because I think and the thing with Tom King is, I mean, I have gone on record of bashing that Batman run many a times. But when he was in peak form for that series, it was some good shit. And I think at least from this, and Tom King thrives in the miniseries.
Yes.
So I'm really hoping that this ends up like panning out because
and Tom King's
this first issue was stellar.
Yeah. And Tom King's biggest strength, as we've always said, is taking underappreciated characters and making them appreciated. This is Batman's not underappreciated, but
No, he's not.
I think this might be a Croc book, low key. And I think if there was anybody on planet Earth that would want to write the Killer Croc, it's Tom King. So I'm pretty excited for that because we get a lot of Croc and his girlfriend and the story with that. We get the money drop off. I think this book is primed for the stuff I really love about King.
If you ever get a chance, though, Che, I recommend the James Tynion Detective Comics run because he uses Croc a bit in that book too. Like and he's like it's a pretty. I mean, that's like the one thing too with like I always like Killer Croc, but like even though the name suggested he doesn't usually kill people, so like that was like I was actually surprised that they actually had him to kill.
Well, I think it's the suggestion that it's by accident.
Yeah, it is by accident. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it's a bad guy. It's just something happened.
Well, that scene where he's trying to kiss his wife, which because all people, but especially women in comic books, are drawn insanely. It's like the hottest person on planet Earth, and then this giant monster is trying to touch her. Of course, she's not like about it, but like to say ew in your uck, I guess is the exact.
Yeah, it's like
uck in your partner's face is wild shit.
She doesn't seem like a good person.
No, probably
No.
not.
And she's probably taking all of his money. Let's be honest, that money is going with her.
Yeah, I was surprised when we get that scene. Also, is that a person? The guy, the old man with no eyes?
I did not. I'm sure he is, but I don't recognize him.
Okay, good. It's not just me then. Yeah, I was surprised that money got dropped off with her because, although I guess if he's blind enough to rob a bank to get money to have a surgery that definitely won't work so that he can be with her.
Yeah, fucking insane thing. It's just like they're gonna get skin grafts. Like that doesn't work that way, bro.
Where is he gonna get the skin from? Skin from what?
Yes.
Skin grafts work from taking skin from other parts of your body and grafting it on other parts of your body. He's a croc. He's full croc body. Also, is it going to make him 2 feet shorter and also not a crocodile?
Yeah, I don't understand what accident leads you into doing that.
Yeah.
I was attacked by a radioactive crocodile. Eels, man.
Yeah.
Fucking eels.
Oh my God. Still the dumbest origin story of all time, right?
So fucking amazing.
Although, I mean, low-key, Spider-Man is a dumb origin story, but
he got bit by a radioactive. Like, I mean, like listen, radioactive eels is technically on the same comparison as radioactive spiders. One just sounds much more stupid than the other one, though.
And I don't know. I can't put my finger on why eels sound so much more ridiculous, but it does. It just sounds silly.
It's silly. I mean, it's silly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Che, do you want to take a quick break and then come back in and talk about everyone's new favorite film, The Batman?
Yes, let's talk about it.
You were never a god. You were never even a man. You're letting him kill Martha. What does that mean? Why did you say that name? Find him! Save Martha!
And we're back. Did you say
Huh.
All right. It's just going to preface it right now, as you always do with the big movie conversations. We're spoiling The Batman. If you haven't seen The Batman yet, which I think a lot of people probably haven't quite yet. It didn't blow up like Spider-Man did. Has been pretty successful, but feel free to bounce now. Really appreciate you guys.
You guys are really, you're doing yourself a disservice if you listen to us without watching, because not that it just takes away from it, I think. And it's it's like one of those movies that is good to go in as like kind of just fresh minded as possible.
I'll give my speech as I always do, despite the fact that it's probably annoying to listeners at this point, but that's okay. I went into this movie blind, literally only knew that Robert Pattinson was the Batman and Zoe Kravitz was Catwoman, because those two facts were unavoidable and everything else was new to me. And it's just a way more fun experience. I had such a good time. Not that I realized the Penguin was Colin Farrell until after the movie was over, because what a weird move by Colin Farrell.
Everything involved, it worked, but everything involved in it was just very bizarre.
Yeah. But yes, you should go into the movie as blind as you possibly can, because I just think that's the most enjoyable way to watch any movie, but especially a movie like this, which is at its core a mystery movie. And that brings us on to our first point of conversation. Corey, do you like Detective Batman or superhero Batman more?
I think
there is a correct answer, and that's.
I think this book made me realize that I like Detective Batman more.
Yeah,
even though
he's not a very good superhero. He can't fly.
He's not.
Can't shoot lasers out of his eyes.
He's basically Iron Man. Yeah. That's kind of like what happens whenever he has to go without the suit. But he gets a suit occasionally.
That's true. He does.
But I mean, I think I'm agreeing with you on that. I think like superhero Batman-y is very fun, but this was just like kind of. I didn't really know I wanted this kind of story. Like I kind of was like, yeah, I would love a Detective Batman movie, but they like went in so hard on that concept. It made me just go back and being like, because if in a different universe we would have gotten the Ben Affleck Batman movie, which would have probably been much more just superhero-y instead of this.
Yeah.
And I'm about to pick to choose between the both of them. I'm happy that we got this film.
I also think there is, and this is as much a complaint as it is a praise of the movie, just a complaint about movies in general. Superhero movies have sort of become the vehicle with which certain types of movies that don't get made anymore get made, and that may not make sense, but I'll explain it. So basically, like, Deadpool is one of the most successful comedies of the last decade, because studios don't make studio comedies anymore, and when they do, they get dropped straight on Netflix. They never really make it to theaters. They don't star anybody really significant. The way that studio comedies used to be huge business, they're not. That doesn't exist anymore. We don't make noir movies anymore. They were massive in the 50s, and there was a big surge of them in the mid 90s into the early 2000s. And I mean, it's not a criticism, but this movie is Seven. This is Seven with Batman in it.
Yeah.
And I fucking love Seven.
That's okay.
Right. And if I can't get Seven anymore because they don't make movies like that, which I understand the business of movies, I'm not going to. I think people like to blame comic movies for that, but it's not comic movies' fault that people don't go to the movies to see movies like Seven anymore. Seven cost $33 million to make. I'm on the Wikipedia. And could you guess ballpark how much money Seven made in the theaters?
15 million?
$327 million, which is...
Oh, I don't know why. The way you were prefacing it, I was like, oh, it's not going to... Yeah, I thought you were about...
that it would make $15 million.
I know everyone saw that movie. Yeah, got it.
It is not a movie that people can get greenlit anymore unless you stick Bruce Wayne in the middle of it, and then you can get Robert Pattinson. You can get Jeffrey Wright. You can get Paul Dano. You can get Zoe Kravitz, who's fucking lighting the screen on fire in this movie. And I just kind of...
I did not know... I didn't know she could act that well. And she's like, I walked away with just being like, damn, she just like...
For a lot of reasons, Zoe Kravitz has been misused by Hollywood over the last few years. People who didn't watch High Fidelity, which got unceremoniously and brutal, like silly, canceled by Hulu. She's fantastic in that. Zoe Kravitz is a fantastic actor, as well as being one of the most beautiful people walking on the face of the planet.
Too attractive. Too attractive.
It is. There's distracting at scenes because like.
It's like, I mean, I get like why like Batman was just like immediately just staring at her, and I'm like, it'd be terrifying if this man in a giant.
If you were Zoe, from Bruce Wayne's perspective, to Zoe Kravitz, obviously you immediately fall in love. Why is Zoe Kravitz at all interested in this man who's basically all she knows about him is that he's a crazy person that dresses up in bat suit and he's tall? Is that all it takes?
Have you tried doing it?
I'm not that tall, so I can't pull it off.
He's your height, I think.
Robert Pattinson
Get some boots.
is 6'1".
Okay.
And I am hard 5'11" on a good day. And I have no shame in admitting that on the podcast.
A hard 5'11".
I'm 5'11.0".
That's very fair, Che.
So, I mean...
I hit 6 foot and I stopped measuring myself. I'm like, no, this is fine. This is fine. No, we don't
yeah,
need to
but
check.
you're like 6'4" with the hair. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this... One... This is not a pairing I ever really thought I wanted in a film, needed in a film. But Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz they have fantastic chemistry. Not to mention, and I sent you this, I texted you this, but I'm happy to release this hot take on the podcast.
Please do.
Robert Pattinson is the best actor, period, to play Batman since George Clooney. And George Clooney's Batman movie is bad for like very different reasons than George Clooney's existence in it.
He might be my favorite Batman.
And that brings us to the second question. This could be another 6-hour podcast. Who's the best Batman of all time? But
we'll do that one day.
My immediate take, having only seen this movie once in theaters, I'm going to go back and see it maybe next weekend or later this week.
Yeah, I plan to go back and see it next week at some point.
I think Robert Pattinson is the first person I've ever seen who's good at playing Batman, and I think Christian Bale is still the best Bruce Wayne. And
yes.
That's where the distinction between these two, which I think they are still, they're the best. They're the two best.
But I will say this about his Bruce Wayne. I don't think I think in the sequels we'll probably get more of a development on that. Yes, this is
a very different Bruce Wayne too.
Yeah.
He's not a billionaire playboy. He basically hangs out with 0 human beings that aren't Alfred and his maid, who that's a new addition. I don't think I've ever seen Batman with a maid.
His maid was it's like kind of a throwback. He had it in the Adam West days. It's like a really old school thing. Like I don't think she ever really knew he was Batman, but yeah, he used to have a maid.
Although
it was a weird throwback. I'm like, oh shit, she's like, wow, weird callback.
I think she is quite literally only there because somebody has to make the phone call at the.
Fuck that scene though. That was that was a fucking intense ass scene.
I mean,
there's so many moments like that in this movie though. Like they just. The intensity and then like just all of it. It's just like it's like, I know we say this all the time, but it was like that 3-hour movie flew by and I was upset when it was over because I was like, no, I want to take me back. I want to go back.
This is as good a time as any to talk about the Matt Kindt of it all, who is, I mean, Matt Kindt. Wow, Matt Reeves.
I was like, sorry. What the fuck are you? I was like, where the fuck are you going with this?
Matt Reeves, because I knew we talked about this before the movie came out. I was excited because I think Matt Reeves is a great director. I love the Planet of the Apes movies. I think they are a really fresh and smart take on a film series that I thought Mark Wahlberg had effectively murdered. But I still didn't think he had this in his back pocket. I'm not a big Cloverfield guy.
I fucking love Cloverfield. But Cloverfield, I mean, I wouldn't look at Cloverfield and be like, yes, this man should do Batman. It doesn't really necessarily like fit like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, although actually, I was going to say they're very different movies, but actually Cloverfield is not that different from this version of Batman. It doesn't have horror element in a way, but I think the small cast, the sort of like the tone of it is very similar. It's very dark and harried, like in a lot of ways. That scene in the iceberg lounge or whatever it was.
Which one?
The raid scene, basically.
I did like the I like it when like noir films like kind of keep going back to the same locations, and I like that because it felt very. I love this Gotham City because it kind of became recognizable. I love like the signs. I like that it was always fucking raining all the fucking time. It was just a very like cool setting to do that in. And I like the iceberg lounge a lot. And then the raid where he was like bodying people but also getting fucked up himself, which is something else I really liked about this. He's not like the Christian Bale Batman who could just take on a room of like 20 people and be perfectly okay. This Batman, like, he gets fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, the production design of this movie is one of my favorite parts of it. I think. Agreed. One of my favorite shots in the entire movie is the first time we see basically the manor, and it's like this Gothic house. We have these like insane. I don't even know where I wonder if they built the set or they found it. These like insane pillars around, like, you remember the arc in his house with this? It looked like a fucking like Gothic painting, for lack of a better word.
It was beautiful.
And it's just so fitting with the, like, just not just the tone of Batman, but the tone of the specific Batman movie. I know it's like early days of Batman, so he's supposed to look less put together, but the mask was not doing it for me. I don't know. The suit, the rest of the suit I thought was
like
good.
the mask. Weird. It's funny. I mean, I think like to me, I'm like, I thought the mask and cowl was perfect. I just thought the rest of the suit was like okay to me. I like the cape too, but like to me, I really like the mask, honestly.
Also, he's only got one batarang.
I mean, he didn't even throw it.
No, he only used it once.
Yeah.
Twice to like break into the thing.
It's year 2, man. He's still working the kinks out, bro. Like, let him. The next one's probably gonna have a much better suit and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, mostly because the point of this movie is not for him to be like a tech genius anyway. It's that he's a great detective. I love the scenes of him like following after the Riddler. The two scenes in the Riddler's apartment after they've captured him are, I think, my two favorite scenes in the movie.
I will also the interrogation room between Batman and the Riddler.
Yeah, I was really worried because obviously one of the most iconic scenes from the Dark Knight is the interrogation from the Batman the Joker. I was worried that scene was going to go south because, I mean, love Paul Dano, but Paul Dano still is not Heath Ledger.
No, but I think that
scene is
what
really
they
good in its own
yeah, but like they did it so differently that it was just like it worked out. Because also I just love Batman just berating this man. It was just very funny. It's like, you're fucking weak, you're stupid. And it was just like just fucking dunking on him. I'm like, this is.
It's also like pretty heartbreaking. He's like he's friends with this guy. It's like it's so bleak. Also, I mean, again, I'm a broken record, but I'm happy to be. Why? I watched the trailer after I saw the movie for the first time. I didn't realize they fucking open with the reveal that the Riddler is Paul Dano. It's in the first 2 seconds of the trailer.
Well, I mean,
everyone walking into this movie knew that Paul Dano was the Riddler, and like,
I mean, like, I think he was cast as him. I didn't fucking know, man.
I mean, they tried their best to hide the fact that Barry Keogh was going to be the Joker for one scene. He's
not even gonna come back next movie apparently. So
but I've told you. We talked about this, but I think the reason that he's not going to be back in the next movie is because that tested to shit.
Would not be surprised.
I think the plan was originally cast because one, despite the fact that I think,
choice.
Yeah, I think nobody should touch the Joker for a very, very long time.
We got to take a break.
Yeah, but if somebody was going to do it, I actually kind of think Barry Keogh would be amazing.
Oh, I agree.
For those of you who haven't seen The Killing of a Sacred Deer, it's one of my favorite performances of his ever. Also stars our boy Colin Farrell, who
that movie makes me so uncomfortable.
I think
that movie's rough.
If you watch that movie, you can see why somebody would be able to see Kehoe and be like, "Oh, that guy could be the Joker."
Also, shout out to The Lobster, just adjacent to Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Honestly, for a movie by the same director, Yorgos Lanthimos, maybe not two more different films, except for they make me both equally uncomfortable. It's just two different kinds of uncomfortable.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Love Yorgos Lanthimos. He's my guy.
What else? I wish we got more of him, but I liked. Wow, I'm fucking blanking on his name. Alfred.
Andy Serkis.
Yes, I wanted more Andy Serkis.
Matt Reeves guy.
Matt Reeves guy. Yeah. Yes, and I thought he did. I thought he was a good Alfred. I liked him. I liked that Alfred was like solving the mystery with Batman.
Although I kind of love that he was wrong. I love that. Like usually in a superhero movie, you get like the hero wakes up, somebody either be his henchman or somebody has figured the whole thing out. But then of course we get Alfred's like sort of tried to work it out, but hasn't got all the way there.
Yeah, so but even he says though.
Help. Yeah.
I liked it though. I was just like kind of very. It felt very Batman the Animated Series kind of vibe, where it's just like it felt like he was like working more with a team than anything. And I'm excited to see more of like Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and what kind of persona that he's going to be putting on in the because I got to imagine they're going to go a little bit more into that side of things, but I would be very okay if they didn't because I loved how much he was in the costume this movie. I feel like he's mostly in the costume. It felt like in comparison to like every other Batman who's like barely in it.
I didn't double check this, but I saw this tweet from somebody, and it sounds right. But apparently, so I'm just going to quote it because it sounds right and it's cool. It's apparently the first Batman movie where Bruce Wayne doesn't dress up and go to a gala. And I think that sort of tells you all you need to know about.
Oh, you're right.
I think this is very intentionally by Reeves and by basically everybody involved. It's very intentional how different this movie is from the Nolan Batman movies, and really just Batman movies in our experience in general. Because I think that's the only way this was ever going to work. Because if you give us something that's very similar to the Christian Bale Batman, or even very similar to the Ben Affleck Batman, which it's just very short-lived, so it's hard to really have a real strong opinion on that. But it doesn't really. It's hard to separate yourself from those two things, because especially The Dark Knight is like going to go down in history as, if not the greatest superhero movie ever, one of the top 3. It's just hard to shoot for that star. So what you need to do is just do something entirely different. And I think the reason that the way this movie works is everything is very different. Even like you said, Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is so different about Alfred than
like Jeremy
Michael
Irons
Caine
and Michael Caine. Yeah.
We're like, yeah, like Jeremy Irons is a good point. Jeremy Irons is very much like, he's kind of like, he's like a Michael Caine type. Michael Caine, not Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
Yeah, Michael Caine, like kind of like sassy or whatever. But this one was just very much like, and also with this Bruce too, he's very much like, Alfred feels like a failed father figure, and it's just like, absolutely,
literally has the conversation. He's like, "You're not my dad," and he's just like, "Oh,
you're not my dad, Alfred."
Yeah, rough.
Let me go listen to more Nirvana.
How old do you think, or do we get confirmation how old Batman's supposed to be in this movie?
I think he was like 30. That's what I kind of got the vibe of. It seemed like he was pretty much like pretty on the younger side rather like then. But it doesn't like this Batman. Batman didn't like travel to Europe to become a ninja or whatever and shit like that. This Batman seems very much more like. It just seems like he's good at brawling in a sense. Like, I can beat the shit out of someone, but I don't know kung fu kind of mood.
Well, so now you brought up Batman Begins. So for you, this is 2 or is this 1?
I think it was stated that this is year 2.
No, sorry, I meant in your rankings.
Oh, this is my favorite Batman movie.
You have this above Dark Knight?
I have this. I think The Dark Knight is a better movie.
Yeah.
But I think the Batman is my favorite Batman movie.
Okay, so then do you think this is objectively better than the Batman Begins?
I objectively believe this is better than Batman Begins. Because, in a sense, I mean, like, it's like partially Batman Begins. I mean, of course it is an origin story, but I loved how just immediately we're like, Batman's here. We're like, we get all these, like, the first 15 minutes of this movie is fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And I think the establishment of the first murder, which was just very well done and like mirrored his parents dying, and then the whole shadow scene.
Oh yeah, I thought for a second when the opening shot and we see that family, I was like, am I gonna have to watch the fucking Waynes die in this movie?
Not this time. Another person dies, and then you have that other kid who's now traumatized by
honestly horrifying. See, first
poor
of all,
kid.
I'm not gonna pretend to be like a Navy SEAL trained like awareness. Like I don't know, but I feel like I would know if some guy was fucking standing 2 inches behind me, right?
Yeah, and like he was like breathing too.
Yeah, he
it's
wasn't
like,
trying to be all that stealthy. This guy
like I like turn like
not.
I like turn around just in case you'd be like, oh, look, I've never like those scenes always like confuse me. Like I definitely would have like turned at some point just to like.
The ones that get me is when people get in their car and they don't know who's in the back seat. I've never gotten in my car and not known what's in the back seat before.
I feel like I always like at least like do a glance or something like that. I've never just been like la la la.
Your car has fucking 4 windows.
Exactly. It's like just look.
Yeah.
It's like weird.
For
like,
me,
you're in a bad area. Like you should probably double check things.
Yeah. So for you, personal rankings, it goes The Batman, Dark Knight, Batman Begins.
I think it might go Batman Begins then Dark Knight.
Wow.
No, it's weird.
This is the first time we've had this conversation on the podcast. I didn't know that.
I don't know. I got to think about that one. I kind of go back and if I'm thinking like the Batman Begins feels much more superhero-y.
Yeah.
To me, and that's kind of fun, but like The Dark Knight's also fucking amazing, so it's a very like it's different. But that's like The Dark Knight feels like there's so much going on with it, and then Batman's starring in it. This just felt like this is Batman's movie, and then you have these side characters as it goes.
For shockingly for the star power in this cast, like Jeffrey Wright, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano, even Zoe Kravitz, they don't get that much screen time compared to other supporting characters in other Batman movies. Yeah,
exactly. It's like every character, the supporting characters for the most part, aren't like no names. Every supporting character was like a comic book counterpart, or it was like directly into the story. It wasn't like you got any like random characters for the most part.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also really interesting you pointed out the whole gala thing. The only time we really see Bruce Wayne go out of his house is for a funeral.
For a funeral, yeah.
And like we don't even see the scene with like him. I love that they didn't have to give us a scene of him like in sweatpants with the accountants.
Yeah.
I was happy they just skipped over that because I'm like, I don't need to see that again. Yeah. I've seen it before. I get the gist of what's gonna happen.
Although, is this Bruce Wayne broke?
It seems like he's like not super rich.
Yeah, which will make
like
becoming Batman very difficult.
Well, he's like built the car and got a motorcycle apparently.
Although, so the car stalled, right? Did I misread that scene?
It seems like he might have. I think he like fucked up the gearing with it.
But is that supposed? Like, I was so confused by that. Is that supposed to be? Was that? I mean, it was obviously intentional. They left it in the movie. I didn't really get it tonally. That's the one part of the movie I was very confused by because you get this awesome intro to the Batmobile.
I think,
and then it's the first time the movie's ever undercut itself. Like it's a very Marvel move. We love Marvel movies, but it's a very Marvel move to be like, here's the serious moment, undercut it with a joke.
I didn't really feel like it was I didn't really feel like that was a joke to me. It just kind of, to me at least, it was like, yo, this car's like powerful in a sense of like it's like not easy to like, because like with like shifting, it's like a kind of like a rhythm. And I guess in a sense, like we don't see the car beforehand, and it clearly is like this slapped together monstrosity of
with flames coming out the hood, which is
just like
safe.
me, like just Mad Max type shit.
Yeah.
It felt very like, I don't know, to me it was just personally like either that it was like I faked it, or like to me I was like, oh, the car is like scary in that sense. But that probably my favorite shot of the movie is when he comes out over the cars and through the flames. And Colin Farrell's upside down in the walking shot might be one of my favorite moments of anything I've ever seen.
I also just love it. He says, "I got you, motherfucker!" Like, have you been paying attention at all?
No.
It's just...
Why would you jinx yourself like that?
Highest body count of any Batman movie ever?
I mean, there is like a straight up flood.
Yeah, it depends. If we had numbers on the population of Gotham, we could more accurately determine this. But flooding is one of the worst things that can happen to a city. It's like
I'm also really interested because I mean this is very like clearly took a lot from Long Halloween in a sense. I'm interested to
Hush
see
a little bit too. But
well, there was a lot of Hush, and I thought they were actually going for a different direction, and I thought they were going to make Riddler Hush. I thought it was going to be the reveal that he was going to be the same.
The character design of this Riddler is much more similar to Hush than
I got to imagine that this is just like going to be a bit more of like just a combination, and we might never actually see Hush. And I mean, they even like reference the reporter Elliot, and I'm like, okay.
Hush is a hard movie to adapt because you need to introduce an entirely new character to Batman audiences, and then
be like, this guy isn't the bad guy kind of situation. Which like in the comics, it's like fine, but like. Because there's so many characters.
How do you cast that part? Do you get
a
famous actor and then you sort of tip your hand that he's the villain, or do you...
And then you get to the very end and it's just like Robert Pattinson against Robert Pattinson. Such an insane storyline.
Yeah,
I like Hush, but it's fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see where this goes. I like that. I like that we're leading. I wonder how much they're gonna keep into the flooding part, just because I know like No Man's Land and Zero Year had a very similar like kind of backdrop to things.
Well, they end the movie in a very smart way. That they give themselves a lot of. They could very easily just do a time skip, jump forward, and have an established Batman running around solving crimes, or they could just start the movie in the exact same place and have the next movie be about Batman trying to literally clean up this city that's been destroyed by the Riddler. And
also, this power vacuum was very like huge. And I loved what's his face as Carmine Falcone.
Oh, John Turturro. Absolutely,
he was so good.
Legendary character actor.
So
it's not even fair to call
good.
him a character actor. He's just like fucking fantastic.
Fucking good. He was fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
This is just it was a really solid movie, man. I walked out grinning ear to ear. I like, this was what I wanted it to be. I think this is what, I'm happy with what we got.
Yeah.
And it was like honestly like also a weird thing too. It's like, this is the first time like I've seen like a Batman movie where he's like in like public and like actually being like treated as like a hero rather than being like Spooky Man all the time. Yeah. And I'm interested to see like what Matt Reeves wants to develop with this character, because it's clearly that he wants him to have an arc, and this is like the end of his boogeyman phase, and now he's like gonna, I don't know. I'm interested to see where this is going.
If you had a pick for a Batman villain to be the main villain, I'm imagining it probably won't be just a single villain. Obviously, this movie had 3 classic villains. We had Falcone, the Penguin, and the Riddler in this one, and also Catwoman if you count her. But in this one, she's not very much.
I don't think she's good. I don't think Catwoman would ever be a bad guy in this film series.
But who do you have as we both agree Joker is not the right move.
I don't think Joker's the right move.
And I think for the same reason, although obviously Tom Hardy's performance is not as iconic.
See, but also like I was thinking about, because they did No Man's Land and Bane was a very big part of No Man's Land, so I was like, maybe they're gonna bring in Bane, but maybe like that also I think they probably could, if they want to bring in Bane, they could just actually have him be of Latin descent and kind of like set him apart in that.
Don't
like,
make him a British guy. You think?
No, don't do that. Yes, don't make him a British guy. But I'm trying to think of. I mean, in a I don't know how it would work, Che, but I would love it to see if someone can make Mr. Freeze work.
That was my big deal, because I think Mr. Freeze is somebody who's famous enough to work, because we're never gonna get a really niche Batman villain as the main one. It's just not how movies work. And we're far enough removed from Schwarzenegger's performance, and it's bad enough that we could easily redo that. The problem is with Mr. Freeze is, does he work tonally in these movies?
That's
Mr.
what I'm
Freeze is more
wondering.
like a fantasy villain, and these movies are very grounded in a way.
Exactly.
That,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see if you can make that work.
Right. I would. Love
And I'm wondering if it's too close, especially how there was like kind of the undercurrent of Gotham was a big part of this. But also I think like with this style, Court of Owls could also not a singular villain, but like I think that could be an interesting like concept. But I don't know. I think Court of Owls might be a bit too similar to what we just watched, so I can't imagine. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know. It's
yet another incredibly annoying reason. The annoying thing about Birds of Prey is that I think Black Mask would be a fire villain for a follow-up movie. But
I think also it's like, especially with if you keep the Penguin too, it's like definitely fun to have like big personalities in those mob families. Yeah. But I feel like you want to have like one like I feel like Black Mask would be like a secondary villain. I can't imagine him being
I guess that's probably true.
Yeah. That's just me. I don't know. I think like Black Mask would be good as like being like a background character, because my favorite storyline with him is Under the Red Hood, where he's the main bad guy, but he's not like, the story isn't about him.
Is Victor Zsasz to
Well, no, we just lost him with Black Mask. I'm just kidding. I think Victor Zsasz would work.
Oh,
but I don't know.
He is also in. I forgot he's in that fucking movie.
Yeah, it's weird.
Why'd they do that to us? Why'd they make that movie?
I want Calendar Man.
Calendar Man actually could be a pretty that's a pretty amazing way to pace a movie. Like, you could have a bunch of time skips where you're jumping between holidays.
Well, basically just do Long Halloween, but on screen.
There's a lot of Batman villains that have been played for more humorous, that as Batman gets more and more serious and less campy, that I think could work. Obviously, like the Mad Hatter. I don't know, have we ever gotten the Mad Hatter on screen?
I don't think so. I think like, and also I would like to bring back Harvey Dent, but I wouldn't want to make him a bad guy like originally. I would like to have just like one movie of like good guy DA Harvey Dent before Two-Face. Yeah. Because I mean, also the DA just fucking died, so I'm assuming. But yeah, it's like, I think it's a hard thing to do, especially with like this, because I mean, like Batman Begins was grounded, and this is kind of like towing the same line of like, this is like it's ridiculous, but it's still like existing in our like feasible universe.
Yeah.
Except he would be fucking dead after that fucking wingsuit shit. But
yeah, I think there's a lot of places this could go, and I think the Riddler's just like a really smart choice. One, because the Riddler is sort of perfect for the detective style Batman that we were talking about, that I see that there was clear Matt Reeves wanted to do, but also because again, the Riddler is not a character that a lot of movie going audiences have a ton of connection with. Obviously, Jim Carrey's The Riddler is like famous with a lot of people, but it's so different from this version of the Riddler that it's basically a different character. So
exactly, and I mean fucking Tommy Lee Jones versus Aaron Eckhart's. The fuck is that his name? Two Faces. Yeah. Two-Face is just also ridiculous. Also, it's weird that Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face.
Yeah, honestly, forgot that was the case until you just said that.
Completely forgot. Apparently, Tommy Lee Jones fucking hates Jim Carrey because of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people that have worked with Jim Carrey hate Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's why he stars opposite animated cartoons now. So,
that's why he doesn't work anymore.
Yes. Were you not excited for Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
I forgot he's in those movies. You're right. Sorry. Jim Carrey out here working real hard, making Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
And on that note,
well, hold on, before we go, I think people will probably we got Corey's 3. I think for me it's Dark Knight Begins, then this, but they're all, I think they're pretty closely bunched. But and this one is a much more difficult choice for you, Corey. Which is the better depiction of the character and film? This or 2004's Catwoman? I just love Corey's face got so serious. He was really prepared. He was thinking like, whoa, what am I going to, what? I need to dive deep into the history of my Batman knowledge. What's he going to ask about? Which one do you like better?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
All right.
Zoe Kravitz was much better than Anne Hathaway, though.
I like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman.
I just realized something. I think we had technically have had more black Catwoman than white Catwoman in live action.
Yeah. Equal number. 2 white, 2 black. Right?
No, I guess actually, you know what? Going back to, I was about to say Eartha Kitt, but that there was also a white Catwoman in the Adam West.
Yeah, I can't pretend to have an encyclopedic memory of the Catwoman appearances in.
Yeah, but pretty equal though. That's surprising. Hey.
Yeah, once Halle Berry. I mean, listen, Halle Berry. That movie is a lot wrong with it, but in a lot of ways, she did break the color barrier for.
Good job. You know what? I like to take this after talking about the Batman. I want to just thank the Catwoman.
Did we do a Catwoman?
We're not doing
one.
Rewatch? We're not doing
Did
one.
Did we not?
I don't know if we did. I blocked it out, Che. We've been doing this for
because I have a vivid memory of
we've been doing
us
this for
talking about the basketball scene, which is one of the craziest scenes ever in a movie ever.
I feel like we must have, because I remember watching it.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't have watched it.
And we did Daredevil.
And I wouldn't have watched it without like
no shot
prompting.
That movie I'm putting on spinning up on the TV.
The Dark Knight, the Daredevil wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
That's not true. Corey, don't do this. You're addicted to Ben Affleck. I think you have a Ben Affleck problem. That movie is unfucking watchable.
Fuck off. Michael Clark Duncan is amazing.
Michael Clark Duncan's a fucking legend, rest in peace, but that doesn't make that movie good.
I enjoyed his Kingpin. I would watch the Kingpin movie starring him.
Yeah, he would have been if that movie hadn't absolutely tanked. And it's, you know what? It's Jennifer Garner's fault, and I'm happy to say that on the record.
Yo, I was at we're almost done. I was at a bar and they were playing Elektra. Like
Elektra?
They had the movie Elektra on like 6 different screens. I'm sorry, I just hit my mic. Everybody.
5 too many screens. No,
it was just like I couldn't look away from it. I was like, every time I was like glancing over, I'm like, yo, this movie sucks so fucking much.
She's had such a weird career, Jennifer Garner. But once again, reminders: if you're watching the YouTube video, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. We've got a YouTube exclusive coming pretty soon. That should be exciting. We're going to be doing some Batman content. Also, if you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to drop us a rating. You can rate us pretty much all over the place, but iTunes and Spotify are obviously the most helpful. And like I said, next time you'll hear from us will be our Oscars. Not really preview. We're switching up this year. We're going to be doing our own awards ceremony, but we'll also be talking about the Oscars in relation to it. So a little Oscars thing. And don't forget, our book club for next month is Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight. And our Curse of the Rewatch is Bulletproof, co-starring the one and only Sean
Bulletproof Monk.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't watch it, I don't know.
No, you don't ever have to watch. You never have to watch the movies. You watch the movies does not increase your enjoyment of the podcast afterward. But you should go. You should go read the Moon Knight book for a lot of reasons. Mostly because the TV show is coming out. That'd be exciting.
You guys can if you guys read this book, you'll understand why Che and I are so excited for this.
Yeah, Moon Knight. It's the relationship I have between the Moon Knight book and the TV show is the same that I had between the Hawkeye book and the Hawkeye TV show.
It seems like they're going to borrow a lot from it. Yeah. And also Oscar Isaac is
fantastic.
Fucking awesome.
I watched Ex Machina again the other day.
About to tear the dance floor.
The
dance scene is one of my... I don't know. It's like the Batman walking out of the flames thing and then the dance scene. Just the straight... Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people, not the two of us, we're big Oscar Isaac fans, but I think there's a lot of people who don't really think of Oscar Isaac when he comes to the top of your head as like A-list top big build celebrity. But if you go back and you check out, he's been in a lot of movies that like Ex Machina, Inside Llewyn Davis, Dune, not to mention the Star Wars movies, Drive.
So good in Dune.
He's been in a lot of really great fucking movies. So
it's like people. I think it's also like he's like when he cuts his hair off, he's very much a different person.
Yeah.
So it's like because I forgot he was in Drive, like until you just said that. And I'm like, oh yeah, he is that guy.
Well, Drive is so much like it's basically a Ryan Gosling star vehicle. It's Drive, and then you sort of remember Christina Hendricks' scene where she gets fucking domed, and then Carrie Mulligan's also in it. It's one of the most, because I'm at the time that was like peak Christina Hendricks. That was like her like peak Mad Men. I was a big Christina Hendricks fan, and then you just watch this movie. I'm like, this is fun. What?
Nope. Okay. All right.
So, but yeah, anything else for the people, Corey?
No, nothing else for the people, guys. Thanks for listening, as always.
We'll see you guys next time. I've been Che.
I've been Corey.
Bye.
Bye. You did this. Yeah, you did the see you next time thing.